Let's take a look at some of the buttons on the Panasonic DMC FZ1000. So looking at the top, we have our on-off switch. Around our mode dial, we have all of our modes, and the white indicator on the left is the mode that you currently have selected. So we're going to go ahead and set it to manual mode. This red button is our movie record button. Next to that we have a function 1 button, and below that a function 2 button, which means we can custom assign functions to these. Above that we have our shutter release, and we have our zoom in and zoom out button. On the left hand side we have this mode dial, which allows us to select our release mode. So this is a single shot, this is continuous shot, this is plus or minus shot, this is self-timer, and this is probably a longer self-timer. So over here we have our release mode dial. Looking at the left side of the camera, we have a microphone port, and on the lens we have a zoom or focus, which basically tells you what this dial does. Either it's adjusting focus, or if you select zoom, it adjusts zoom. And then we have power IOS, which IOS is referring to optical image stabilization, and you can either have that on or off. Looking at the right side of the camera, on the front we have this light here is our auto assist illuminator. And at the top of the camera we have our hot shoe for a flash, we have our stereo microphone, and this is our flash. If we press this button here, it opens the flash. Looking at the back of the camera, we have our display, which is a fold-out display. You can turn it around and then put it back in there. We have a function 5 button here, diopter adjustment for the viewfinder, our viewfinder. Here we have an autofocus, auto exposure lock button, and then we have our autofocus mode, whether we're in manual focus, autofocus continuous, or autofocus servo. This is our function 3 button, also our Q menu button. This is our image review or playback button. This adjusts our display. And then we have a number of functions on this D-pad. This is obviously going to allow us to go up, down, left, and right in any menu, and then set that setting, whatever we're changing. If you look at the face of the D-pad, we have ISO at the top, we have autofocus or macro mode on the bottom, white balance on the right, and it looks like we have metering mode on the left. And the bottom button here is our function button, which also doubles as our delete or back in the menus. And here on the back we have a rotary dial or a command dial, which lets us set multiple settings in the menus. On the bottom of the camera we have tripod mount, 1/4-20, and we have our memory card slot, which is an SD, and then we have our battery. That's pretty much it for the Panasonic FZ1000. Check out the other videos to find out what all these buttons do. Thanks a lot.